Okay, so Milia extraction. Milia is basically the little white, they look like whiteheads, but they're not whiteheads. They are a build-up of sebum underneath the skin, and you cannot extract them. Sometimes they'll disperse on their own, you can exfoliate and they'll disperse, but generally they don't, and they stay there, and they can get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the only way that you can really get rid of milia is to extract them. So that would be with a needle. And now it's a specific needle. It's the needle that would be used for diabetics. So if anyone is diabetic or they know a diabetic, they will know that this needle is tiny, absolutely tiny. Yeah, so you can see this and how small this is. So what we need to do is we need to prepare the client's skin. So you can do that in a few ways. If you're doing a facial, then you can do the facial as normal. You know the skin's really cleansed and it's ready to do milia extraction. It is best to steam though. You do need to steam to get a really good result because it will open the pores and it will allow the milia to come out far better than it would have otherwise. If you are mobile, however, you might want to do something like the cleansing wipes, which you can get. These are used a great deal when you do electrolysis and you're mobile and you're moving around and you're doing the permanent hair removal with electrolysis, and you can take these Calphalon cleansing wipes. They're also used for things like ear piercing. You've probably used them on ear piercing as well, so you can use those. However, we are in a salon, so we are going to actually use a Sterex cleanser. Now the Sterex cleanser is for literally electrolysis. It's bought to go with everything to do with electrolysis. It comes in a great big jug, a great big jar, sealed jar. So we decant them into little jars so that you can all have one each, because we buy them in such a big bulk. So this has got Sterex cleanser in it. So you would cleanse the area and make sure that the area is all cleansed. Then you would obviously do the treatment. Now to do the treatment, you're going to need your needles, and you are going to need tissues. The tissue is for protection and also to capture the milia as it comes out. So you need your needles and you need some tissues. Now, after the treatment, obviously, you need to dispose of your needles immediately. You do not put them down, you do not leave them anywhere. You dispose of them immediately. And that is when you use your sharps box. You would turn that lid and you would drop your needle in there and you would close it immediately. Because what you don't want to do is have that lid open, you knock it off the side, and then you're picking up dozens and dozens of contaminated needles that's come in contact with clients' body fluid. And then you can prick yourself and then you have got a problem, because it can lead to all sorts of things. So the setup for your treatment is going to be some kind of cleansing facility. It's going to be your sharps box and your needles. Now after the treatment, we need to put something on the skin to keep it, to stop it from cross-infecting or to stop them from getting an infection. And that's when you'd use something like your Sterex gels. Again, Sterex is electrolysis, and we order this in with electrolysis. But because we use needles with electrolysis, milia extraction is also needles. This is the sort of gel that you're going to need to put on the skin afterwards. It's going to calm it down, it's going to soothe it, and it's going to stop outside bacteria from getting into the area that you've opened. Now, if you have a client who absolutely cannot bear to leave your salon with no makeup on, you can actually get this kind of gel in a tinted moisturiser. And they come in different shades, light, medium, dark, and you can mix two together to get the right shade. So if someone says, I will not have this treatment because I cannot leave the salon without makeup on, just use the tinted one. And so you have those as well. So with Milia extraction, you're also going to need your magnifying lamp. You've got to have a magnifying lamp because without it, you're not going to be able to see the Milia correctly. And the gloves that you use must be a very tight glove. So I would normally wear between a small and a medium, but I will definitely wear small gloves when I do electrolysis, when I do Milia extraction. You want these gloves to feel as part of your skin. You do not want any loose glove getting caught in your needle. So you want them as tight as possible, obviously not so that you're uncomfortable, but as tight as possible. Okay, so assuming you've done your facial, if that's what you was going to do, assuming you've done your steaming, or you could use hot towels, that will open up the pores as well. You've got your mag lamp, you've identified your Milia, and you've made sure that it is Milia and it's not a whitehead. Okay, a whitehead peaks. You can squeeze them and they will come out, and you can see that they're extractable. With a Milia, you can see that there's no break in the skin. It is not forming into a peak. It is just a white lump under the skin. They're very different. So you must be careful with that. So we've identified on our customer what Milia we're going to extract. Sherelle's got very, very, very small ones, but I'm going to go for this one just here, even though it is really tiny. Tissues, please, Gracie, or Luce, if you could give me some tissues. So we're going to use tissues rather than centre-feed roll, because centre-feed roll can be really harsh on the skin, but tissues is very soft, and you want to have a softer contact with the skin as you possibly can. So we're going to take the cap off of our needle. We're going to put our cap completely aside, out of your way. So you're literally only working now with your needle. You would get your tissue, and I always separate mine into two, so going in the opposite direction to where the crease is. And I would place those on a sanitised surface. Now when you do this, you have to stretch the skin in a three-way stretch. 1, 2, 3. Okay, a three-way stretch. Now when you've got your three-way stretch, you go into your Milia and prick up, and then you come in the other side like a hot cross bun, in and prick up. Okay, so it's a tiny, tiny, tiny action. It's minute. You would then get your tissues, and you would then stretch down again, come up and under the Milia, completely under the Milia, and then gently wiggle the Milia out. If you need to go in again, you can, but hopefully that will pop out on the first one. And there it is. I don't know if the camera managed to pick that up nicely for us, but half is in and half is out. Can you see that okay? So we're now just going to gently wiggle and get the rest of it out. Make sure there's none left. If there's some left, it will just heal over what's left in there, and it will carry on getting bigger. So that's completely out. And then your tissue has obviously got body fluid on it, it's got blood on it, and it's got the Milia on it. So that's got to go in your yellow clinical waste bag, which is collected, as you know, weekly by the council and then incinerated. But we wouldn't put it in just like that as it is. We need to protect that as much as possible. So what we would do is we would take a glove over it, so it's completely concealed in the glove, and then we would take the other one over that. So that is now completely sealed. No cleaner or colleague, other therapists can accidentally touch that and cause a cross-infection. So that's how that's done. What you would do now with a little bit of cotton wool, you'd put your gel on, whichever one it is you're using. I keep one of these in the fridge, and you'll see that there's one in the fridge out there. It's lovely when it goes on cool, especially when you've done something like this. Put a little bit on the cotton wool, and you can then put that on the Milia area that you've extracted. And obviously I do suggest that you would keep your gloves on to do that part, so that, because you don't want to come into contact again with body fluids as well, just in case. So do your after gel, and then obviously dispose of any waste.